Today on Locked On Los Angeles Kings, we're hearing from the voice of the Ontario Reign. That is PA announcer, public address announcer Jeff Pope. If you've been to a Reign game, you've heard his voice, and we're going to hear from him today all about the Reign and his life as a Kings fan. That is all coming up on today's episode of Locked On Los Angeles Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, my name is Sarah Avampato, host of Locked On Los Angeles Kings, and thank you so much out there for making today's show your first listen of the day every day as we learn all about what's going on in the world of the Los Angeles Kings. The Kings have a little bit of a layoff right now. They don't play again until Thursday, so I figured we'd spend the beginning part of the week hearing all about the Ontario Reign. If you listened to yesterday's show, you already know. If you missed it, go back and check it out because I talked with Jason Hernandez, who is host of Locked On Ducks /Gulls on Gulls Thursday, and who is a frequent attender of Ontario Reign games for secret reasons, we'll say. And so he is my guest contributor anytime I need a voice to tell me what's going on at the ice level in Ontario Reign games. So we talked about the Reign's most recent win over the Bakersfield Condors, a 3-2 overtime win. So that was yesterday's show. So you can go back and check that out. We did talk a little bit about Quentin Byfield in that show, speculating whether or not he was going to get called up. We thought maybe it would actually happen because we've got two guys now added to the COVID protocol list, Alex Iafallo and Alex Turcotte. But right now it seems like everyone is staying put. Byfield is staying with Ontario. So if you're headed out to a Reign game, you're going to get to see him in action. But so it's kind of Reign week right now on Locked On Kings. So go back and check out yesterday's show for a little bit of perspective on what is going on in Ontario. But today we're talking with Jeff Pope, who is the public address announcer for Ontario Reign games. If you've been out there to Toyota Arena in Ontario, you have certainly heard him calling all the big moments of the game, big goal announcements, introing the team, and just being there to pump up the energy for these games. So he and I talked a little bit before the holiday, so there might be some, holiday content in here, Staples Center content in here that is a little bit old, but it is still great and fun, and just keep that in mind as you're listening that we talked a little bit before the holiday break. But wanted to bring that for you today here on Locked On Kings. So without further ado, let's go check it out right now. My conversation with Jeff Pope, public address announcer for the Ontario Reign. All right, so if you have listened to this show at any point in time, you know that I'm basically always telling you, go watch an Ontario Reign game. Go out to Ontario and see an Ontario Reign game. And we're going to give you a little more incentive to go see or watch or hear an Ontario Reign game because we are talking to one of the voices of the Ontario Reign. You're going to hear him when you go out to Ontario, introducing your lineup, calling penalties, making some noise. We have Jeff Pope, who is the voice of the Ontario Reign. They're totally forgot what you're called, the PA announcer.
PA announcer, yes.
Although you could probably come up with a cooler, like Sound Warlock or something.
Voice of God here in Toyota Arena, your Ontario Reign.
Exactly. So I'm glad you're here. We have a little mutual connection between us who was like, Jeff wants to do the show. And I was like, great, awesome, let's do the show. And so we're going to talk a little bit about your work with the Reign. I know that you are a lifelong Kings fan, so we'll talk about some Kings memories. A little spoiler, we all know that Staples Center is changing its name, so I've been doing a lot of talking with people about favorite Staples Center memories, so keep that one in the back of your head for a little bit later. But
on your last podcast, you mentioned that they're going with Crypto.com Arena. It will always be Staples to me. You can't change the name and all of a sudden, it's Crypto.com Arena. And the irony is that they bought the naming rights. It was a straight cash deal. Like crypto actually traded hands. Okay, whatever, Crypto.com, sure.
Right. Yeah. They weren't taking that deal in Bitcoin.
No, hell no.
So I'll start out with the intro question of just tell me about you.
I love my LA Kings. I love my Ontario Reign. I do a morning show, radio morning show, Monday through Friday on Hot 103.9, 5:30 to 10. So I'm up at 2:45 to get to the radio station by 3:30. Get home, maybe if I'm lucky, 12:30, 1 o'clock. I get a good nap. Have to have a nap, Sarah. Otherwise, you're just done. have to get my nap in. And I love, let me just say how much I love 4:00 Kings games because I get to watch them entirety. I love them. I don't necessarily need them to win. I get to watch all 3 periods because at home game, when they play at Staples, I get a period and it's bedtime.
Yeah.
I get 1 period. So I have to wake up at 2:45 and find out if they won the night before. So
oh man.
I know it's absolutely brutal, but yeah, I love 4:00 games, and I became a Kings fan way back in the day. My brother and I randomly flipped the TV channels, and I think we came upon a Kings game on old Channel 9, and we're watching, and we're like, this is a cool looking sport. And played on. And back then, hell, fighting, that happened as often as you had passing, and that was really cool. And I remember I was taken to my in 1983 at the Forum, Kings and the Detroit Red Wings, and I just remember Marcel Dion scored a goal, and the Kings won, and this drunk dwarf who was rooting for the Red Wings got his ass kicked in a fight, a drunken brawl in front of us. And at the age of 12, I'm like, this is the greatest sport of all time. And I just remember, and we didn't really go to a lot of games back then. Our mom took us to a game, and we're very happy for that. And then there was like a custody battle, and then our dad ended up getting my brother and I. And I just remember I finally turned 16, got my driver's license. And the first thing I did, we're going to go to Kings games down there in Inglewood. I remember the first time driving along Manchester and stopping at a Jack in the Box. Oh, bulletproof glass. This is impressive. No problem. And back then, Sarah, the cool thing is pre-Gretzky, if you had a student ID, you can buy a $5 ticket and sit in the colonnade. $5. So I'm packing my car with all my high school buddies. We're going to games. We're yelling and booing at Gretzky. And of course, the Kings inevitably would get knocked out of the first round of the playoffs by the Oilers. And then when they got Gretzky, oh my gosh, let me explain that moment. So my brother and I are watching TV, and Keith Olbermann at the time is the sports reporter for KTLA Channel 5. And he went into a break with the tease. Right, coming up, I'm about to explain how the Kings might be involved in the greatest trade in sports history. And he leaves. And so over the next 3 minutes of this commercial break, my brother and I, wow, biggest trade. Who do you think we're getting? And I think we threw out the name Mario Lemieux. And we're like, well, who are we trading? Are we going to trade Luc Robitaille? You can't trade Luc. The freak rookie. He's like one of the best rookies. And Steve Duchesne and Jimmy Carson, all these guys. How about Bernie Nichols? I don't know. Well, he just said it was the greatest trade in. So we're just coming up with names, whatever. We never thought that the greatest name in hockey history we'd include in this trade. And so after the commercial break, it's like now 10:45 at night. And they go to him, the lead anchor say, all right, we go to the big breaking trade news that Keith Olbermann has. He's like, all right, according to my sources, at this time tomorrow, Wayne Gretzky will be a member of the Los Angeles Kings. My brother, we lost it. Wayne Gretzky! Oh my God. And we're hugging and dancing and screaming. Keep in mind, my dad goes to bed at 9 p.m. sharp. He is not to be bothered, Sarah. He is not to be bothered. And he comes storming out of his bedroom and comes into our room and opens the door, and he's wearing his tighty whities and nothing else. What the F is going on in here? I said, Dad, Wayne Gretzky just got traded to the Kings. Oh, that is big news. Carry on, boys. And he went right back to his room, and we freaking, and then the phone rang. And I'm like, oh crap, we're gonna be in big trouble. But my dad let it go because he knew this was a big deal. Now my high school friends, we're all talking, oh my God, Wayne Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky. And the minute we had an opportunity, we got in line at Music Plus to buy tickets to opening night. And all of a sudden, there's the line of people buying hockey tickets. Where were these people all these years before? I could just randomly go up to Music Plus. Here, let me buy this cassette tape. And you got any tickets at the Kings game? Oh, we got 10,000 tickets at the Kings game. I'll buy a couple. Thank you. So that was it. It just the carry on and my life and all the, the memories of, when my wife and I, our first date was a Kings game. It was 1990, Kings against the New York Islanders. And I had been taking off of work several times. We worked together at a bowling alley in Rancho Cucamonga. I remember blowing off her, hey, can you cover for me? I have tickets to the Kings game. I'm going to go. And finally, after having her cover my shifts for hockey games, she's like, well, when are you going to take me to one of these hockey games? So I took her. And she fell fell in love with Bernie Nichols and Marty McSorley after that very first game, because I think he had a pair of goals and McSorley kicked someone's ass, and she just fell in love with the sport.
There you go. Growing the game.
Exactly. It's been a wonderful, wonderful era of Kings hockey in my life.
I love it. I feel like it's so interesting hearing stories about, obviously pre-social media, pre-computers, but like that's still that excitement of like, wow, this might be happening. You never know. But you have like a whole day of being like, is this for real? Is it for real? Now it's like one person floats a rumor, 10 minutes later, like, Elliot Friedman confirms it. And then the team is like, oh crap. And then they have to make the announcement. Like it's very
And then, and then the mayor has the complete breakdown of everybody involved in the trade, and the press conference hasn't been held yet.
It's
like a completely different era.
Yeah, it's like very anticlimactic. You're like, well, but it happened.
Okay. Well, it's already been reported on Twitter, I suppose.
Right. Like, what's Rob Blake going to tell me that Twitter didn't already tell me? Like,
no kidding, right? Exactly.
All right, we're going to have more with Jeff Pope coming up right after this. We're going to get his perspective on the Ontario Reign and what we're seeing from them this season. But before we get into that, let's talk beards, because if you have a beard, then you need to get Primal. If you or someone you care about has a beard, you need to get Primal. Make sure that you are the guy who is having the best beard in the room. Maybe you're someone who's never considered the benefits of treating your beard with product. Well, Primal Origin Oils will stop the itch and make your beard look healthy and groomed. The products are free from harmful synthetic ingredients and with low impact on our planet. So they're not just good for you and good for your beard, they're also good for the world. Primal Origin Oils makes balms, oils, and whipped butter that are renowned as having the best feel in beard products available. All their products are fair trade certified and handcrafted in the USA. Plus, if you are trying to figure out what to get someone and you can't just make up your mind, well, they have combo kits, which are great holiday gifts, post-holiday gifts, Valentine's Day gifts maybe. So if you're shopping for someone or you're shopping for yourself, you will be glad that you did. So I feel like if you've ever interacted with a beard, had some beard feel, the benefit, how great it is to have like a nice, smooth, soft, luscious beard and not like Itchtopia. So if you've got a beard, you should be checking out this product. And of course, we all know that every company out there claims to have the best, but Primal Origin Oils challenges you to compare their ingredients and the feel in beard to all the other products that you have used. We promise that you're going to see and feel the difference. Remember to use the code LOCKEDON when you go to primaloriginoils.com to get 20% off your order. Again, that is code LOCKEDON at the checkout for 20% off at primaloriginoils.com. Now let's head on back to talking with Jeff Pope, the public address announcer for the Ontario Reign. So how did you get involved with working with the Reign?
That started back in 2008. Obviously, I was the original announcer, the PA announcer for the Reign back in the ECHL days. And I remember when they were going to build the arena first, and then it was announced that the Long Beach Ice Dogs were going to become the Ontario Reign and move out there. And my brother's like, oh my gosh, dude, there's going to be a professional hockey team in Ontario. We got to get season tickets. And I jokingly said to him, well, if I'm not doing the public address announcing, absolutely. And it so happened that the owner of the then Reign, his name still is Justin Kemp. His first hire was a sales guy who went to school with me at Cal State San Bernardino. We were fellow radio DJs. And I guess he dropped in a word, says, hey, listen, I got a buddy, Jeff Pope. He's like the biggest hockey fan here in the Inland Empire. He's announced a couple of hockey games as is. You bring him in. We don't even have to worry about hiring a PA announcer or anything like that. So they invited me up to Chipotle in Ontario for a lunch, and over a burrito, I was hired as the PA announcer. There was like no tryout. There was no nothing. I just said, hey, listen, you hire me. I know the cadence. I David Courtney. I got this handled. You worry about other things. This is a brand new hockey team here in the Inland Empire. We're gonna have some fun. And those games were an absolute blast. Jason obviously was the off-ice official. And hockey is a sport where if you go in person, you are hooked. Hooked. TV does not do hockey justice. You go in person, you're hooked. And there were so many, folks here in the Inland Empire had no idea what hockey was. They didn't know the difference between red line and base.
But they're coming out to games and they just loved it. It was cheap entertainment, and we packed the house for those games. I mean, we were
surprised how quickly hockey picked up here in the Inland Empire, where the Ontario Reign were now leading the ECHL in attendance. Constant
leaders. And it was just something to go in on a Saturday night and you've got a sold out crowd. It was just, the rush. And I did that up until 2024.
And then I lost my radio job here in the IE, ended up getting another job up in San Jose. So I ended up having to leave full time. I mean, the team would still fly me down on weekends for like special events and auction items and that type of thing. And then when the job available again, which kind of surprised me, I was actually sitting on my couch. I don't know what I was doing. And someone else hit me up and said, hey, the rain job is available, the PA job, and I'm going to apply for it. But if you've already applied for it, I'm not even going to waste my time. I'm like, wait, the job is open. And I saw it was, and I went ahead and filled it out. And under job experience, I was the Ontario rain announcer from the very beginning.
Literally done this.
Yeah, I've done this before. And the difference, obviously, with a solo owner back in 2008, one guy who owned the team, and now it's AEG and it's AHL. I still had to have 2 Zoom interviews, a phone interview, an arena tryout.
Oh, wow.
Which, and again, I completely understood. It's a different era. This is a corporation. You've got to dot the I's, you got to cross the T's, you have to go through the whole thing. So I ended up getting my job back, and I can tell you right now, slightly different skill level with the AHL as opposed to the ECHL, where those players back then, okay, a couple of years from now, they might be firefighters, maybe real estate agents, as opposed to, all right, Quentin Byfield is out here stick handling like a champ, and he's going to be the future of the LA Kings. And a guy that I'm announcing now, he may get
Christian Wolanin was just called to replace Alex Edler roster, and this happens all the time. So it's a completely different level. It is such a
it's just, and I have the best seat in the house, literally right there on the ice on the red line. So it's an absolute blast, Sarah. Absolute blast.
So this is a job that really takes a ton of energy. You're a radio guy. You're good at projecting that energy. But as a person who's like a little more chill, like I would not be a good PA announcer. You get yourself amped up for those big moments, for the big goal, for introducing the team. Like what's the secret behind it?
It's just preparation. I will get the script the day before and just give it a pre-read, so that way I don't have any mistakes that slip up on me when I actually do the game. And just having the player, if someone were to sit behind me and they're sitting behind me, I've got like the rosters. Some of the rosters that I have written the last names don't look anything like their actual last name, because I don't care how it's spelled. I just want to pronounce it correctly. Or like Jacob Mubaruri. That's not exactly, I don't have his last name spelled out. I've got it completely broken down phonetically. But there's always, you talk about the excitement level. Obviously, I will announce a goal differently.
If it's the first goal for the Reign, that breaks up an 8-0 shutout against San Diego, and there's 50 seconds left in third period. I'm not going to give it the same excitement level. Not the 4th goal in a row on a major power play to take the 4-3 lead with 30 seconds to play. But it's funny, as I'm doing the game, I don't actually yell and scream when the goal is scored. The first thing I do is I look at the clock. Okay, let's see, 18-4. Let me write that down, 117. For the guy next to me to tell me who got the goal, who got the assists. And then I give it the, just the energy level deserves. Is it like a very important goal? And luckily this year, the Reign haven't really had a problem of scoring a goal to make it 8-1 for the other team. I mean, they have been on fire, which is such a fun thing to be a part of. They've got one of the best records in the NHL, so there's a lot of excitement. The team is absolutely stacked, so it's hard not to have the excitement when they score a goal, or Martin Furth just blasts another power play off the one-timer. It's just, how do you not have that excitement? And then it feeds off the crowd. If the crowd is into it, then I'm going to be into it. So it's, that's pretty much part of it. I think the crowd also feeds off of me, and hopefully I feed off the crowd as well.
So you do obviously get to see a ton of Reign games, and like you said, they're on fire this year. It's been great to watch, and it's something that the listeners of this show are used to me saying, you have to see what's happening here in Ontario. Last year they struggled so much at the beginning of the year that everyone got very frustrated very quickly, and they ended the season hot. It's carried over to this year. They're one of the best teams in the league. People are already talking about them in terms of playoffs and, you know,
playoffs
run, right? Like,
like slow your roll. I mean, I don't want to say that it's expected to the point, like, okay, easy now. I still remember how anything can happen. This is a Kings team. Let's just take it. But again, you look at the talent, Sarah, and I mean, it's just when for example, Martin Frk should easily be on the Parent Club.
Yeah,
easily be on the Parent Club. But if you want to let us have him in his 109-mile-an-hour slap shot, we're okay with that. I mean, Austin Wagner is on our fourth line. Austin Wagner is on the fourth line, and you know, when he played for the Kings, three times a game, he had a breakaway. You know, I mean, that's the talent level that we're looking at. I hope everything continues to go well, but as you know, hockey, you have injuries. They can be a part of the game as well. But we're just very fortunate, and especially with Ontario, just starving to see championship. Starving to see success the playoffs. We never really had that in the ECHL days. Haven't had that now in the AHL, but now you look at this lineup, you look at this roster. I'm like, wow. I mean, all the prospects the Kings have compiled over the years. And wow, I mean, we're just Samuel Fagemo and Kochev. These guys should be on the Parent Club, and we've got them. Now, obviously, minor league hockey being what it is, the roster can completely change by the time we get to March and April. So I'm just, you know what? Let's just rack up some points now. Let's get what we can now, and we'll see what as we get a couple months down the road. You know?
Yeah. So whose performance has surprised you the most? You know, a lot of these are guys that you're familiar with last season too, but is there anyone who's kind of standing out to you as a guy who you're like, wow, didn't expect that out of him?
I did not expect Martin Frk to be leading the team in goals. I am not going to lie. You got to the point where, okay, is he a journeyman? You know, what's his role? What's he doing? But I love how the team, like when they have a power play, it's almost like, all right, he's going to be on the left side. They're lining him up for the one-timer. And yet the other teams, you would think, okay, block the passing lane, get a stick down there. You're obviously trying to let Furky get a blast. That's the whole point. And you know, it's almost like Arthur Kalev for the Parent team. Line him up on the right side. Let him get the one-timers. I did not expect that success out of him. And it's just, he's done that. Yeah, Samuel Fagemo, okay, I expected, because he's like second team in scoring. We kind of expected that. But what Furky is doing is amazing. And on Jersey for a minute. And you could tell, okay, he's ready to play the NHL. Just his confidence on the ice. Just the way he yelled at an official for a high stick call. Just the way he yelled at this guy from the AHL. You just, okay, he's yelling at him like he's already in the NHL. You know, and you can tell guys out there have the confidence. They already know, okay, we're going to be at that level. Quentin Byfield, I could already tell. I mean, he might as well just some real estate in Hermosa Beach along with the rest of the Kings. You know, get a place in Manhattan Beach. I mean, he just, the way he carries himself out there. And I've only seen him, just that last game was the first game I've seen him in person. And just, yeah, you can tell. He's got a confidence level that I hope we have him for a couple of games. I know we have a couple of games coming up later on this week, including the teddy bear toss. I hope to see him, you know, before he gets called up to the Parent Club. But Tyler Madden is playing well. But I would say, yeah, definitely Marty Frk. Even though I think a lot of Reign fans I've spoken to did not expect this type of performance and production out of him.
Yeah. And I feel like Frk is interesting because I don't want to compare Martin Frk to Alex Ovechkin. Like, you can't. There's only one Alex Ovechkin. But it's the same thing of like, everyone knows that Ovechkin is going to be right there and he's going to shoot from there. And yet he scores 50 goals a year. And just know.
Absolutely correct, Sarah. You're absolutely right. Everyone knows it's coming. And we can watch that develop. As he slides over here to the side, they work the puck at the point, and he's wide open. Like, he's got a stick in the air. I'm hungry. Feed me. Let's do this. And I'm watching the defense. Really? You don't have to set up in a box. You can have one guy kind of put a stick out there to keep that puck from getting over. But hey, whatever works, you know. And you're thinking, if there's a way to utilize that in the Parent Club, like you said, like Alex Ovechkin, he just stands off the side. You know he's gonna. You know that's his whole role. They're just gonna slide in the puck and let him freaking tee off in the goaltender.
Yeah, and Frk, no one wants to stand in front of him. Everyone knows, you know.
Oh,
You know,
Even the goalie wants no part of that. It's 109-mile-an-hour vulcanized rubber coming at you,
right.
Sarah.
I'd be like, I'm out of here. Have fun with your goal. I'm done.
Even the defender's like, I don't have a guaranteed contract. I'm not going to block that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Love it. It's so fun to watch though, because you watch the Reign power play, and you know exactly what's going to happen. You know he's going to get the puck and he's going to shoot it, and he loves to shoot the puck, and then ta-da! Now we have a power play goal.
Not only does he love to shoot the puck, I think his teammates love to feed him the puck. I mean, and when he misses, even we in the press box duck, because that king could be flying around the glass. Who knows where that puck?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I remember when I was out for when the All-Star game was in Ontario, I was out there for it, and just seeing how excited all of the other guys were whenever Ferk hit that record of, all the other guys from the Reign were super excited. Everyone was just like, this is the coolest thing we've ever seen. But yeah, no one wants to be in front of it.
The reaction when the timer showed 109 miles an hour was sick. I'm sure the Reign, his teammates knew he had a hard shot. I don't think they knew that, because the shock and awe when that number popped up was like, whoa, 109?
Yeah.
But that's a lot of fun. And I think,
the reaction in the press box was, you're in a press box. You're not supposed to have like feelings about what's happening. Universally, everyone around me was just like, like expletives, like just shock of what he had done.
Oh, and the crowd reaction. I think that's one for the books.
Yeah.
When that number came up,
Yeah, that was so good. I feel like that's one of the things that I love most about the AHL is, especially like All-Star game, like you don't get that at, the NHL level, like just that kind of friendship, camaraderie, like you're so close to the fans that it's a different vibe. I've been to the All-Star game for the NHL when they did it in LA, and still fun, but it's a different feeling entirely.
Oh, I remember that All-Star game also. The difference being that, here I'm actually right there ice level, and the All-Star game I was in section 318. So yeah, slightly removed from the quality, I guess.
Yeah. So how cool is it to get to see the future of the Kings team on the ice, being not just the voice of the team, but also a guy who's a fan? Like how neat is it to get to see Quinton Byfield out there?
It's hard to describe. It's almost like a pinch me moment, because I am a fan, a diehard fan of the team. And and I referenced earlier with the ECHL, these guys weren't really play for the parent club. It just wasn't going to happen. I think Jeff Zatkoff was the few original Reign players that actually did make it to the show. But here, I mean, you look
at Byfield and just watching him in warm up, the way he stick handles, and it's just, wow, these guys, this is the future. That's like the number 2.
And I get to say his name during a warm up. That is cool. And during the pregame, it's just, it is a lot of fun. And even some of the fans that sit close to the penalty box, like you had a Sean Dursey in there, and they're in awe, and they're trying to take their seats, up against the glass, trying to get the player in the background. It's definitely different.
Yeah.
Here, having these guys knowing that they're going to eventually make the show, so many of them. And watching them develop their game. That's one of the coolest things. Having the seat that I do is I get to watch this happen like in real time.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, one of the questions I floated at the beginning, told you to think about it. Staples Center is going to be crypto.whatever officially before we know it. We've talked, I had Jason Hernandez on the show. He and I both talked about Staples Center memories and favorite things. So I figured I would extend the same question to you. What are your top 3 moments at Staples? Could be Kings related, could be otherwise, but
it could be Kings related. I mean, so basically, it's almost all Kings related.
For Game 6 against the New Jersey Devils, so that has to be number 1, to actually see them win the cup. And my brother had flown down from the state of Washington. Remember, we grew up watching the Kings, and since then, I mean, we had the mini plan. We got that back when when their leading scorer was Dmitry Kristich. Are you kidding me? So we decided, we'll get the gives us all access to all the playoff games. And, that came in handy, back in 2001 when we pulled off the frenzy in Figueroa, which, by the way, number 2 favorite moment. Let me throw that out there as I work that in. And, eventually My brother ended up, his job moved him up to the state of Washington. So that entire 2012 run, when they won, and our mom, who took us to our very first game, passed away just 3 days earlier. And she was living with, she had moved in Washington. And so I remember going up there and having to take care of business. And it led to game one, Kings, Vancouver Canucks, the playoffs started. And the Kings end up winning. Dustin Brown had an empty net goal, and we're freaking in tears. Oh my God, they won. And so that entire run was just insane, including, and my brother would fly down to be for the home games, and he would fly back. And remember, I'm doing a morning show also. So I'm going to LA for a 7:30 face-off for the first 2 rounds. I'm getting home at 11:30 at night and then turning around and doing a morning show. It was just, I was the most tired I've ever been in my life, but that run ever. Remember now, keep in mind that whole playoffs, what they had 3-0 leads for the first, for every round. They led 3-0. It was like a whitewash. Seeing them win the cup and seeing all these grown men crying was something special. The frenzy in Figueroa, I definitely would have to be the number 2 moment at Staples. Wow, the third. Then I actually caught a puck. I was living in San Jose. I had vacation time. I came down for a game. It was a Thursday night. I don't even know who the Kings were playing, but my friend got tickets down low. I remember a King way down in the defensive end, went to clear the puck, and it was a line drive coming right at me. And I ended up getting an arm up. I made the save, picked up the puck, and I still have it. In fact, I've got it up against my wall here when I actually. So that would be the all-time, my top 3 moments. It's all Kings related. As it should be.
As it should be. I figured, I don't know, you could be a secret, huge Clippers fan or something, and then, based on that look.
I think most Clippers fans like to kind of lay.
I never did understand. How can you be a Clipper fan? They moved up here in the middle of the Lakers Showtime era. What would make somebody say, I'm a basketball fan, but this quality the Lakers are giving me with Magic and Worthy and Kareem, and I'm not feeling that. Let me go follow this team from San Diego. I don't quite understand
really
that.
Root for an underdog. That's what.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, one question I always kind of like to close with when I talk to people who have interesting hockey-related jobs is what advice would you have if there's always some kid who's sitting in the audience who's doing the starting lineup right along with the PA guy. What's your advice to get into that?
My backup is actually a 19-year-old college student from Cal Lutheran. So you could say he's a kid. I just say do the preparation. Do not take this job for granted. Just focus on the names. And when I say do the preparation, like go to YouTube, figure out how names are pronounced you don't know right away. Or guys in the penalty box. How do you say your last name one more time? And focus on diction. Like read it out loud. Just don't grab the script and just start reading it as soon as you get there. Prepare yourself. Just read it over. So that way something doesn't come up that flubs you when you're on the microphone live. And I love the paper scripts. And I know that, and because I've been there, I've seen folks with their laptops and they're using technology and all of a sudden the laptop dies. Oops, you're on your own there. So that's why paper. And if you ever see me go to prepare for my job, I will always have my old school instruments. I've got my Scotch tape, so I can tape paper on the glass in front of me. I've got my scissors in case I need to cut and paste because somebody called 3 hours before the game starts and I don't have that on my roster. So someone comes up and they're like, wow, look at all this stuff. But it works. It works. It makes the game go smooth, and try not to get overly excited. Like that first Kings goal or the first Reign goal, they didn't just win the Stanley Cup. All right. They didn't win the championship. Just give it and feed off the crowd also. If the crowd is really into it, like it was the tying goal with 5 seconds left, have at it. Match the euphoria that the fans are giving. But most importantly, just it's a fun job, but it does require some preparation. If you put the prep work into it, put the research into it, I think it'll definitely show with the product that you have. I love it. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me here on the show today, for sharing all those thoughts about the Kings and their players. And I love hearing people's origins of being hockey fans, and seeing it live. There's no substitution for it. That was
what hooked me as a hockey fan was,
right.
You watch it on TV, you're like, oh, this is fun. And then you go to a game and you're like, can I do this every day?
I get that reaction a lot. And I want
to instance where I was used to working for a radio station out here, and I happened to be picked to sing the national anthem
Kings game. I had gone in and tried out like everybody else, and I ended up choosing a Thursday night game, Calgary versus the LA Kings, because I could anthem, which was cool. And our radio station jumped on it and basically rented out a bus, and we brought a bunch of listeners to this Kings game. Well, trust me, hardly any of these listeners had ever been to a hockey game.
Yeah.
And so we take them down, and it's the type of party bus where they're stopping off at a liquor store, grab some alcohol, take them to the game. And in that first period, there was 3 Kings goals. There were 2 fights. And all I know is my boss telling me, you will not believe how many of our listeners went to the box office and bought tickets because they immediately fell the sport because of the goals and the hitting and the music. It was just the overall game experience, which again, I think hockey by far, nothing comes close, is the in-person experience. If you go, you're hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Well, I hope that some of our listeners of Locked On Kings get out there to Ontario. They get to hear you get excited about goals. I hope it's like an 8-1 win for the Reign, and that,
right.
You get to announce every guy's name. So all that prep work you did to practice their names, you get to use it because they all scored goals.
That's right.
I hope that happens.
That's a blast.
For people, if anyone wants to keep up with you, find out more about you, anything you want to pitch before we head off here.
Hey, I just I play the IE's Best Mix in Hot 1039. I'm on Hot 1039 Monday through Friday. If you live in the LA area, don't be discouraged because it's Spanish music. Más música en la mañana. I can't help that. You can follow me not only on Instagram but also Facebook and Twitter at Jeff Pope Radio. And Sarah, thank you so much for having me. It was a genuine pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and go Reign.
And go Kings go.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much to Jeff for being on the show. It's been great to talk to him, and I certainly hope that we're going to be able to have him back on later on in the season, especially as things get spicier for the Reign as they head towards the end of the season. And don't say it too loud, but maybe playoffs. So love to have Jeff back on the show. That is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be here all week long talking about the Kings, looking forward to their schedule coming up. So make sure you're following the show on Twitter at Locked On LA Kings. Find me on Twitter at Right Said Sarah. Come say hello and enjoy the Kings and enjoy the Reign. Make sure you go out there, check out the Reign schedule on their website, and go check out a Reign game. That is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, for subscribing, for emailing and Twittering and all that great stuff. And I can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow and every day this week here on Locked On Los Angeles Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.